and taking it to be your own, yet it is just what you're using to do the work that you're doing.
So ego is very dangerous to me, and we should avoid the extremes.
This program exists to equip, challenge, and empower men to expand their family leadership capacity for national transformation. National transformation. What does it mean for you when every now and again you are in hospital, you are in the clinic, you're going to the pharmacy, you're calling the doctor? What does it mean for you as a man when every week you have a member of your family who is not well? What does it mean for you to find that your family is never healthy, is never well? It means a lot to you financially. It means a lot to you emotionally. It means a lot to you mentally, psychologically. And it means a lot for you physically. And if you are that married man that is watching me, it may mean for you something much more in the bedroom, to mention but a few. You are very welcome to the Inspired Family Leader Program with Samuel A Bakutana, your host, a certified executive coach, an award-winning leadership consultant, a global speaker, lively facilitator, and author. The CEO of Inspired Leaders International, which is an international leadership development firm that empowers leaders to transform nations, and your provincial Fathers Union president. Today, we are talking about you being a leader of a healthy family, ensuring that you have a family that is healthy, and it is healthy because you are its leader. To talk about this with me today is somebody who knows something about healthy lives, healthy families. After all, he is also a family man, the husband to Ruth, and a father like me, Dr. Noleb Mugisha of the Uganda Cancer Institute. Dr. Noleb, you're very welcome.
Thank you, Samuel.
How have you truly been?
Samuel, I have been well.
Okay.
Yes, I've been well, and usually when I am answering this question, how are you? I don't just say, I am fine. I have to reflect.
The word truly.
Yes, I have been well. God has been gracious, and my house is well. Yes.
Some people who are watching, now they are wondering, your house is well, is it because it's painted? Is it because it's a nice roof?
Okay. My house members are fine. Let me speak with my hands like
Your
you.
family.
My family is well.
Yes. Okay.
My family is well. Our son is fine. Our daughter is fine. We are fine. We are well. Yes.
Is yours a healthy family?
Yes, mine is a healthy family.
Okay.
It's a healthy family.
Okay.
Yes.
Are
it
you
is.
leading it in such a way that it will remain a healthy family in the coming days?
Oh my goodness, Samuel! I am making every effort
Yes.
to lead it well, and
Yes.
it's by God's grace that
Yes.
it will remain healthy.
Yeah.
But it will remain healthy.
Yes.
I'm doing everything possible to keep it
Okay.
healthy. Yes.
Great.
Yes.
That makes you the right person to come today and share with us about being a leader of a healthy family.
Yes.
Please look into that camera and introduce yourself further to our viewers. Let them know a little bit more about you, your work, your family, before we can get the ball rolling.
Okay. I am Noleb Mugisha, and as Samuel told you, I work with the Uganda Cancer Institute, where I actually started the cancer prevention services in 2009. Usually when I say that, people say, so how old are you?
How old are you?
Yeah, but I'm married to Ruth Mugisha. We have 2 children, John at Hurira and Beraka Asinguza. We live in Chiti. Chiti is on Gayaza Road. But I'm very honored to be speaking to us this night, and very grateful to Samuel and to Family TV for giving us opportunity to talk about this topic, being a leader of a healthy family. One of the things that I chose to be passionate about when I was in medical school was actually preventive medicine.
Preventive, not curative.
Not
medicine,
curative, but preventive medicine, where you do things to prevent illness.
Yes.
I'm trying to make it, simple.
So you are a doctor who helps people to avoid a doctor.
Excellent. It's very important for people to know that doctors are actually not trained like mechanics of cars. That we are waiting to fix people who have problems. No.
Yes.
We are actually trained to ensure that people are living healthy. But one bigger component of our training is to address health problems when people have them.
When they come up.
Yes.
Okay.
But it's our desire, and I'm speaking on behalf of my colleagues, it's our desire that people are healthy. People think that when they are healthy, we will run out of business. And that's
what
true.
I was thinking right now.
That's why I've come here.
How honest are you when you're saying, see, I have always wondered what kind of prayers
doctors.
a coffin seller prays. For example, I don't know whether he says, Lord, keep everybody healthy, let nobody die. And then he says, but in case they die, let them come to me. I don't know whether he says, Lord, these days the business is not booming. So the same thing with you, doctor.
I will not speak on behalf of a coffin seller, but I will speak on behalf of a medical doctor. But that's a good thought, Samuel.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. Amazing. So you're very welcome. It's good to have you here. Yes. And I would like us to get to where the rubber hits the road.
Yes.
To you, what is a healthy family?
Now, Samuel, I actually, when I read this topic, one of the things that came to my mind is that many times people think that being healthy is not being in hospital on a bed sick. But the World Health Organization, the global umbrella responsible for health in the world, defines health, being healthy, as being a state of total well-being.
The state of total well-being.
Yes, physically.
Yes.
Mentally, or you can call it psychologically. Socially.
Yes.
And spiritually.
Interesting.
Yes. So being healthy does not mean, and usually the definition adds, not a mere absence of disease or infirmity. So if you have no headache, you have no fever, no joint pains, no wound, no disability, you may still not be healthy. Because mentally,
you have no pain anyway.
Yes, mentally you might be struggling. Spiritually you might be struggling.
Fundamentally castrated spiritually.
You might also be socially struggling. Still, we can't say you're healthy.
So people who are struggling with loneliness, they are not healthy.
They are not healthy at all.
Awesome.
They are not healthy at all.
So people who have a lot of stress in life because of the things they are going through, even when they have six-pack and great biceps, they are not healthy.
They are not healthy. And
how about those who have just been chucked, but they look nice on the outside? They are also not
healthy.
Because?
Do you know why? Because it may not take a long time before they take their own lives.
Oof.
Yeah.
Unless something
recently
happens.
I was coming from school with my son and said, Daddy, did God forgive Judas? I said, which Judas? He said, the one who betrayed Jesus. I said, the little I know about Judas, he actually committed suicide. So most likely God didn't forgive him. So I was telling him that committing suicide is actually one of the worst sins. And so if someone has been, if this young lady, this young man has been chucked and they are at the verge of committing suicide, they can't be healthy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Even if physically they look okay, but now psychologically, emotionally, there is something that is not happening.
Yes, something is wrong and they need help.
So what I'm hearing, therefore, is that when we say a healthy family, we are talking about a family that is in a state of total well-being.
Yes.
Emotionally, physically, psychologically, and spiritually.
Yes.
Even if they have no disease, they have no disability.
Yes. And you know, we could say it this way again, Mr. Bakutana, that the family could have somebody who is unwell. They have malaria, you know, but because their state of well-being in the different aspects is strong, they will actually be able to pull themselves together and support the patient to actually get well.
So we can say that a family is actually still healthy even when one of them has a cough, for example, that just came up
Excellent.
yesterday.
Because a family is beyond an individual. When we talk about you being healthy as Mr. Bakutana Samuel,
Yes.
we are talking about this person in front of me. But when we talk about Mr. Bakutana's family, now we're talking about your children, your wife, your other family members.
Yes.
Now, if they are well, even if you have a headache, oh my goodness.
This is a healthy family.
You will enjoy even the time that you're sick because, you know, all the care is available for you.
TLC.
Yes. Yes.
Wow. So, why must every man ensure that his family members are healthy? What should be the motivation for doing everything possible?
Now, Samuel, when you are introducing this, you mentioned a few of those. Because you see, even though I am giving the broader definition of being healthy, being, you know,
Emotionally.
actually we use the word holistic.
Holistic, yes.
Yes, you know, not just, yeah. Even if that is the issue, why we as family men, as family leaders, should make sure that our families are healthy. You mentioned that, you know, financially, your family is not going to be a burden. Emotionally, it's not going to be a burden.
It won't take a toll
on you. Even physically, it's not going to be a burden. So why we should ensure that our families are healthy is because a healthy family is fundamental for the wellness, well-being of the individual members of that family. Now, if you have a family that is not healthy, then the individual members are actually suffering. And you as the head of the family, as the leader of the family, the suffering is even worse. And so we should all work towards ensuring that our families are healthy. The total well-being, you know. We don't want anyone to be sick, to go to a doctor, but we also don't want anyone to be stressed psychologically. We don't want anyone to be socially not functional.
Yes.
You know, we want people to be spiritually healthy, you know, and that's why you as a family leader, you'll be happy and joyful. Yes. And when I was thinking about what to tell our viewers, I thought that then one would need to imagine if the family wasn't healthy, how their day would be like.
Yes.
Your son is in an addiction institution.
A rehabilitation center.
Your wife maybe
has gone to the clinic.
Has gone to the clinic with fever, malaria. Your son who is at school, maybe you've been called that the teacher has said we've caught him with so many brands of alcohol.
Yes.
So how healthy can you be? Even if physically you're well.
You can't be.
You can't be.
You will be having invisible wounds that pain the most.
But to add on that is that state will actually put you at risk of developing high blood pressure, developing cancer, developing... Now, these are physical illnesses that are resulting from this state of unwellness, even though your body is well. So it sort of creates a foundation for your body actually to begin being unwell. Yes.
It lowers your immunity, or how does it affect?
Now, when you're stressed psychologically, when your immunity goes down, nothing, it's not even very, very scientific. The way we look at the way you should look at it, you will not eat well.
Yeah.
You will not sleep well.
Yes.
And it's only when we are sleeping that actually our body repairs itself. When I was young, they used to say that you grow when you sleep. So they'll tell us we should sleep during the day, because that's when we will grow.
Yes.
But when I became a doctor and I learned what happens when we are sleeping to our bodies, I realized that my parents were actually not wrong.
Yes, they were
It's
right.
when you're sleeping that the body structures repair themselves.
After using them the whole day, training them,
When you
stretching
sleep,
them. Yes.
then the DNA repair happens. The cells that were stressed, begin to rejuvenate. That's why we recommend that we should sleep enough.
Yes.
Yeah.
Enough meaning
And,
6 to 8 hours.
We want on average to have 8 hours of sleep,
Yes.
at the minimum 6,
Okay.
yeah, on average 8.
So then what do you say to a man who is watching and he is so proud to call himself a member of Team No Stress?
Yes.
No sleep. Team no sleep. Team no sleep. We are members of Team No Sleep, and they say it proudly. Team No Sleep.
They can say that for a few years. Not before long, it will catch up with you.
Oh.
There is nothing like a team no sleep. There's nothing like, it's like you say team no eating.
Okay. Or Team No Breathing.
Team no breathing. That's not there.
I hear
That's
you.
not there. Yes.
Okay. What are therefore some of the common threats that you see that threaten the health of many families today? What are some of the common threats to family health nowadays?
Now, some of the common threats, and again, it's really being intentional, that when you reflect a little bit, you see them. One of the common threats is when the family leaders, the fathers, the heads of families, are not intentional in being the leaders. When you have an absent father
Yes.
in a home, that becomes a threat
That becomes a threat to family health.
to family health, because it means there is not going to be order in that home.
The governance will
The
be
governance
broken down in the
will be
home.
broken down. The children will need a leader's voice, the father's voice, to do certain things. And so you have sons looking for mentors and looking for wannabes, either on TV or in newspaper, and they are not likely to look for things that are building, that are beneficial.
Maybe that's why in my
And
language
so-
they say that when the head of the family is not at home, rats climb on the roof. Probably that's what they meant, figuratively speaking.
Yes, and so you will have boys going to drugs, alcohol, tobacco, but also they can choose to join other groups. Just imagine a home where the father is away physically, because some fathers are away physically. They can be away physically, but they create time, and they are able to send a message to their family that here I am. You can depend on me. Yeah, and I know many homes where fathers are away because of work, but they are actually present because they take time and pray with their family. They take time and converse with their family, and so even though the father is away, the son will tell you how the father is. And the father will also tell you how the son is.
Yeah.
And so what we need to do as family leaders, as fathers, is to make sure even if we are away because of one reason or the other, we are still present.
Okay.
And the beauty is that today, the technology has helped us. If you have a smartphone, you can do a video call and you talk to your children as they see you and you see them. But even if that wasn't the case, even in the past, people would write letters. Yeah, I'm sure their fathers would be away, but through a letter, their family knows how they are.
Somehow.
And they are able to be present when certain events, happen.
Though the ideal is a physical presence.
The ideal
every week,
Samuel,
every
the ideal is that Samuel, you're at home physically.
Yes.
But also when you're there physically, you're also there psychologically.
Yes.
Your son, your daughter, your wife feels your presence.
Okay.
Because
So-
you're praying with them, you're sharing with them, but even you're counseling them, giving them counsel, you're giving them, you're giving them advice.
Okay.
Yes.
That is threat number one, threat to family health, unintentional fathers who are absent.
Yes.
Any other threat to
Now,
family health?
the other threat are the things that we allow in our homes.
Things we allow in our homes.
In our homes.
Are you referring to things like TV?
I am referring to things like TV. I'm referring to things like phones.
Yes.
I'm referring for children, things like video games. Yeah? And even if it wasn't things, sometimes people we allow in our homes without regulation. That can really be a threat to family health.
Yes.
I am telling you, I have been to places where you find 3 people and no one is talking to the other. Everyone is on their gadget.
Yes.
Now, if that is your home, that's a big threat
To the
because
health of that
to the health of the family. Because if I was to articulate for you, if I can take a break on this, the elements of a healthy family, there must be commitment. Intentional commitment, Samuel, it's not, this is my family. Samuel, you're committed to your wife. You're
Yes.
committed to your children.
Yes, I am.
If something is going on, because of your commitment, you're concerned.
I
You
am.
stop what you're doing because you've heard your son is in trouble. That's commitment.
Yes.
So every
Not
healthy
just
family,
being interested.
not
but
just being
committed.
interested, you hear and when you come, you rush at them. How could I hear this? But your commitment goes beyond hearing and picking interest, but you take action. So for every healthy family, there must be commitment. And when I say that, it may be difficult to touch, but when you're committed to your wife, the moment you get a message, you stop and you want to find out
Attend to it.
and attend to it. That's number one. So if you're all on your gadgets, how committed are you to your presence
other.
even there? The second one, there must be accountability. That when you're late, your wife knows where you are. When your son is late for coming home, and you're not hesitant to interrupt them and say, hey, I haven't heard from you since morning. I am calling to find out. Accountability. Yeah? And I also want to say there must be togetherness. Togetherness is a little bit different from accountability and commitment, because it means that when there are events that bring you together, you feel obliged that I will be there.
The spirit of oneness.
The spirit of oneness,
Teamwork, unity.
teamwork, and when one of you, has a challenge, you pull yourselves together. Yes. And when I'm saying this, I'm also speaking to myself, but I hope I'm speaking to somebody. And when you're a family leader, then you make sure that these things are happening in your home. That when your son has a birthday party, your daughter is able to come along. Your wife is able to come along and prepare what they should prepare to make sure your son's birthday party is good. Whether there is money or not, Now, when those are absent, then you know that the family is not healthy.
It's being threatened.
That's why I was telling you that even when somebody has a headache, when the other aspects of a healthy family are present, then the headache is not a big issue.
It isn't.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Threats to family health.
Yes.
Unintentional fathers, the things we allow in our homes, the TVs, the phones, the video games. Oh, by the way, what about something to do with eating? Isn't there a threat around eating in the home that can threaten family health?
You see, I was coming.
Yes.
I was coming. Threat number 4.
Yes.
Threat number 3.
Yes.
Now, the foods we eat. And because I am a medical doctor, and at that, cancer prevention, when I talk about foods, I really feel I should even spend more time on that. So the foods that we eat in our home. If you want to be a leader of a healthy family, you must be interested in what food your family eats. And not just your family, but every individual in your family. Samuel, you need to know what your daughter eats, what your son eats, what your wife eats, and what you eat. And if you're taking care of your parents, also to know what they eat. And as an intentional leader,
you do that?
No,
Like now,
it's
my
not
mother
difficult.
is in Wahandagazinyatete right now.
Yes.
I am in Kampala, 380
he's
kilometers
part of your
away.
family, but he's
Yes.
not directly under your care.
So how do I
you
know
don't,
what she ate and what?
you don't really have to be stressed about what your mother ate, because you're not directly taking care of her now. You need to be concerned about what your son has eaten, who is sleeping under your roof.
Yes.
Yes. So what am I saying? One, we need to make sure that all our family members are having adequate fruits and vegetables. And I'll break down that a little bit. That every time we are going to eat food, we need to make sure on our plate, we divide a plate into 4. Eh?
Yes.
4. Now, a quarter should have protein. A quarter should have carbohydrate. Now, when I talk about, I'm talking about posho, rice, sweet potatoes, Irish potatoes, matoke, a quarter. Now, the other quarter has proteins, beans, meat, chicken, peanuts. Now, the other quarter should have vegetables.
Yes.
Nakati, broccoli, sukuma wiki, dodo, pumpkin leaves, cassava leaves. Now, the other quarter should have fruits.
Yes.
Yes. Watermelon, mango, pawpaw, all the fruits that we know. Now, if your print is balanced like that, because the Uganda nutritional guidelines does not make it complex, you don't have to worry about the content of each of the fruits. You don't have to worry about the nutritional content of each of the vegetables.
Yes.
If you mix them, you will have a balanced diet. Now, as you grow past the age of 40, we want you to minimize the carbohydrates. Make that less and increase the fruits and vegetables.
Yes.
But when you're younger, we want you to make sure the proteins are higher, because those are bodybuilding foods. You're still building your body. But also the carbohydrates are high, because when you are energetic, you need to burn that energy and you need to keep fueling yourself. But when a man is 50 years, 60 years, they don't need too much carbohydrate. But when we balance the plate like that, it really doesn't matter who is eating that food. We know they are getting a balanced diet.
Yes.
Now, why I said every individual in your family, you also need to know in your family, do you have people who have diabetes? Do you have people who have high blood pressure? Because for those, the diet has to be different.
Yes.
Yes. So as a leader of a healthy family, you need to make sure that if you have somebody who has diabetes, even the person preparing food in your kitchen is mindful that for a person who has diabetes tonight, we have enough vegetables for them. They are not going to be out-competed on the table, and what is remaining is only rice and posho. Because for them, they have diabetes. They are not supposed to eat food that is converted into glucose. A lot of glucose, especially in a short time. So as a leader of a healthy family, you make sure that every individual in your home, you're thinking about what they are going to eat. I hope that makes,
Some people may get confused a bit, especially the men. When you say, as a leader of your family, you have to make sure you are thinking about what your family members are going to be eating.
Yes.
Some people may listen to that statement through the ears of culture. They may see this scenario through the eyes of tradition.
Yes.
They say, but I thought my wife should be in charge of that kind of a thing.
Now,
what do you say to those?
Samuel, let me tell you something. You see, I grew up in the countryside. But my grandfather made sure there's a banana plantation. Made sure that my grandmother had a garden of sweet potatoes.
Yes.
And my grandfather also made sure that in the banana plantation, there were eggplants.
Eggplants.
That was his business. You don't play around with eggplants. There were pawpaw in our banana plantation. He made sure that pawpaw is okay. So if you want to go culture, actually men of those days also thought about that.
And now what brings in the clarity that I'm looking for? what I'm hearing now, let me think like a leader. What I'm hearing is that when you say as a family leader, to ensure that there is a health in your family,
yes,
keep thinking about what your family members are going to eat. That statement is not an operational statement per se, it is a strategic statement,
yes,
much more, in a sense of ensure that there is availability of foods with protein, foods with carbohydrates, vegetables, fruits. There is access. Your family has access to that. Even if you're not the one cutting the sweet potato as a...
Yes. And you know, it actually comes down to when you're... Because I buy food. Yeah? I pay for food. My wife actually buys.
Okay.
Me, I don't go to the market to pay. Sometimes I do. Many times I do. Many times I do, you know, practically go on tomatoes, you know, all those things. But my wife, when I am with my wife, she's the one who goes.
Okay.
But she makes a list.
Yes.
And we go through it, say, fruits, what are we buying? Okay. Watermelon is not around these days, expensive, so what do we buy?
And her home, watermelon.
That's why I mentioned that one, because you are in front of me. So I make sure that what has been written on the list and what we've agreed to buy is a balanced diet.
Okay.
Now, if you're, because I am a medical doctor and I work in the hospital, and so you can imagine that many times I am not in the kitchen. Sometimes I go there, sometimes I cook.
Yes.
Not sometimes, many times.
Okay.
Yes. But even the times I'm not there, I actually know what is being cooked.
Okay.
Yeah, because I participated in making the list and funding it. So what I'm trying to tell fellow leaders in our homes, we should be interested, not just interested, but also committed to executing, you know, what we have come up with. Because our wives are actually in charge of that department.
Yeah,
you know,
the departmental managers.
Yeah, but also I want to recommend that we should have family meals when we are together on the table. On or at the table? At the table. So there then you see what's actually being eaten. You know? Because many times, I don't know whether you know, your children are like my children. My children don't like greens a lot. So you have to say, you must eat this one first before eating what you like. Because I know the content.
We used to be at that place at that point, but we overcame. Now we are okay.
You are okay. So there is that time where you say, even my 5-year-old must have a balanced diet.
Yes.
So you deny them what they like most until when they have eaten what you know contains what their body needs. And that's a form of
teaching them discipline.
Yes.
Discipline is not about doing what you like.
Yes.
It's about doing what you know you must do, when you know you must do it, whether you feel like doing it or not.
Excellent. Excellent. And so this leader who is looking at it in the cultural lens, even when you want to study our culture very well, you realize that fathers then also did what we should be doing. The times have changed. I go to the market to buy. My grandmother went to the garden to pick what to eat, which was perfect at that time. But my grandfather made sure that, you know, all these things were provided for.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
And so we must also make sure that our families are having a healthy diet. Yes.
Okay.
And I want to emphasize this again, that when you make sure that your family has adequate fruits, has adequate vegetables, then you're building their immunity. And so the doctor will be away.
Will be kept away.
Kept away. This is the doctor of fixing, you know, diseased bodies.
Yeah.
But the doctor of prevention medicine like me.
Around.
Yes.
Dr.
Like me who talks about,
talking about what you should eat on your plate.
Yes. Telling you about, you know, the new foods on the market, the herbicides that have come. So you see, the doctor remains in business.
Remains in business.
Yes, you have
much
to look
more as a consultant of wellness than the healer of disease.
Yes, so we heal disease. No, we treat the disease, but we also want to make sure the bodies remain healthy. Yeah, and then I also wanted to tell you about this family leader, the threat to family health, which can be really spiritual
in nature.
Disorientation.
Spiritual disorientation.
Because also as family family leaders, leaders who want to lead healthy families,
Yes.
we must make sure that our families are spiritually healthy.
How does that look like?
That looks like, don't allow your family to pursue any spiritual line on their own. Family members, you have children, you have people who live in your home. I one time visited a friend of mine, a senior friend, who told me they have a room where when believers, people who believe in Jesus Christ come, they have rooms where they sleep.
Okay.
And they say that's for somebody whom we know wants to have an overnight and pray and spend the night praying. So they have a separate room. When you come and they know you like it, to want to pray in the night and even pray loud, they give you space. So he's trying to make sure that in his home, he's accommodated even that person. You know, you like it cold, you've been at a conference, you want where to sleep. He has a room like that for people who come from up country where he comes from, and they are, in town and they want where to sleep. But what I'm trying to say is that...
Please give me his number after here.
I'll give it to you. I promise. I'll give it to you. So you need to make sure that you're praying with your family.
Yes.
Yeah? You're studying the Word of God with your family. And also... you need to be intentional on where your family goes for prayers. And I'm using that not to, because many other non-Christians watch family TV.
Yes, they do.
So you need to make sure that you're deliberate about where your family goes for prayers. So you don't have your family go to that church, another member goes to another church. No.
You
need to make sure
to a third church.
To a third church.
Or you even don't go at all as
yes.
a man.
And wait a minute. Even if it's at this point and you're going to different churches, you need to have a time when you get together and you agree the reasons why you go to different... You harmonize.
But that is now double work. You should go to one church together, with the same mindset, same philosophy.
A family leader who is watching us now, and his son goes to one church, his daughter to another church, he goes to another church. Now, get together and agree. Why do you go to that church? Why do you? And then you agree and you start to go to one church.
What do we believe in together as a church?
Because usually that's the starting point. What do we believe in? Why are we even going to church? For starters.
So spiritual disorientation can be a threat to family.
A threat to the family.
And the man should ensure that there is prayer in the home, there is a focus on the word, and you are careful where you go to pray from as a family.
Yes. And let me give my personal opinion. I think if my son chooses to attend a certain church for a certain reason, a certain season, I think that's fine.
Okay.
There is a conference at a certain church, which I know, and he wants to participate, that's perfectly fine.
And you're okay with that congregation?
Yes, for that
season. It may be
season.
a camp they want to go to, but it's a camp that is under a certain ministry whose doctrine is outrightly unscriptural and biblical and straight from hell, but they are having a good conference, and your son would like to go and spend 4 days there.
Now, what my son says is that one X. You understand what I mean? Yeah, again, before I allow them to go, I have to do good homework.
Due diligence,
and know who the speakers are, what doctrine it is. But it's also not difficult, even without doing too much due diligence, to know who is hosting that conference, who is the convener, because that's where it starts, But if you have...
The apple doesn't fall far away from the tree.
Yes.
Once you know who the convener is, you can be able to...
then I can now begin... Yes, then I can begin. If I know who the convener is and they are right, they follow the right doctrine, then I go further and know who is the speaker. Because those are important before my son goes, to give them a briefing. So that's important for everyone who wants to be a leader of a healthy family. Spiritual health. We talked about that. Now the other threat is when there are illnesses that are cropping in the family and you're not aware. And that's not unusual. I have had patients who have come and their fathers have said, my son had this and I didn't know that he was actually receiving care from a certain place. That's not great. That's not nice. So it's important that as a leader of a healthy family, you have opportunities where you're able to interact with members of your family and what is going on in their bodies. I'm talking about if Samuel Bakutana, by God's grace, you're 70.
Yes. Hallelujah. Yes,
Amen.
I am by faith in
Yes.
Jesus' name.
Your son needs to know. He shouldn't see you going to hospital and doesn't know, what's going on. They need to know. Because that becomes a threat to the health of the family.
Okay.
Because the moment one of you is unwell, that's really not good for you.
Right.
So we need to make sure that our family members are having right medical checkups. So when a child is born, we should make sure a pediatrician, a doctor for children, has assessed them. And they know, have they been born with any medical problem? Have they been born with any what we call congenital problem? Problems that people are born with. If that is okay, perfect. When any lady is 25 years and above, we should make sure their cervix has been checked. Their breasts have been checked. If a man is 40 years and above, they should make sure their prostate has been checked. And all of us should make sure we know what our blood pressure is, whether we have diabetes or not. This should be fundamental in our homes. Basics.
Okay.
That you know that your family doesn't have these chronic illnesses. That can be a threat if you're not mindful about it.
One other threat I've been hearing a lot nowadays among many parents is the threat of addictions in the homes.
Yes.
It seems nowadays many children are addicted to many different things, and even parents can be addicted to many things.
Yes.
But specifically for the children in homes. If a man who is watching right now has a daughter, a son, who is addicted to the things, they may have to look for rehabilitation and all, and counselors and medicine, etc. But what if he wants to prevent various addictions in his home? What can a man do to prevent them from coming into the home?
Yes, and this is an excellent question, because where children get addicted, where children pick these habits are likely to be places where we are not.
Yes.
It can be a school, it can be a camp, like we talked about.
The neighborhood.
The neighborhood.
On TV.
So one, how can we prevent these addictions? One, let's make an effort to be available. Let's make an effort to answer their questions. To answer their questions, because they get addicted because they have a wannabe. A figure they look to who is, an abuser of this thing they are addicted to. That is number two. Number three, it's important, and this I see we are losing in society, it's important to be clear about your values as a house, as a family.
Clarify family values.
Family values.
For the Bakutana, the values form an acronym of the word SLIDE, SLIDE.
Yes.
They stand for service, love, integrity, discipline, and excellency.
Excellent. Now, if you are addicted, you can't be excellent. And you break down even your values further, and you tell them what it means
in the
when
day-to-day life.
Yes, in day-to-day life. You can't afford to be intoxicated with alcohol.
And then say you have discipline.
You have discipline. So it's important that as leaders of healthy families, we really clarify our values.
Yes.
I think that is missing. We shouldn't let it be to whom it may concern. That is number
three.
Number three.
One, be available. Two, answer their questions. And three, clarify family values.
Clarify values. Number four, pick out these notorious addictions that we know and be clear about them, that in my family, this one is not allowed. Because that is important again. In my family, this is not allowed. Alcohol.
Yes.
This. Clearly, be clear about it. And it's better to do this right from childhood, before our children are influenced by the world.
That's why this great leader of Israel, hundreds and thousands of years ago stood up and said, train a child in the way he should go, so that when he grows up,
Yes.
he won't depart from
it. Yeah, that is one. But number 3, no, this is number 5.
Yes.
Number 5, I think it's important for us to seek knowledge about these habits.
Yes.
You know, seek knowledge and know about these habits, so you know how to address them when you hear something in the neighborhood.
Okay.
Yes.
Important. Be available, answer their questions, etc. All these things, we are speaking about them in the context of a man being the family leader, and therefore ensuring that part of his leadership brings about healthy results for the family. The family
Yes.
remains healthy because
Yes.
of his leadership.
Yes.
However, we know that many men are not playing this role. What do you think usually stops some men from playing this, let me call it, the healthy leadership role in their families?
So one of the things, Samuel, that I think stops many men, one is many men themselves being, should I use the word victims?
Yes.
Of the unhealthy
They are
habits
unhealthy
and
themselves.
lifestyles. Yeah, because if you're a man that, you know, is commonly intoxicated with alcohol, if you're a man, you know, then it's very difficult to lead your family to sort of avoid these.
You have no moral authority.
Yes, that is one. Number 2, the other fact that can stop them is actually not being knowledgeable.
Lack of knowledge.
If you're not knowledgeable about a healthy diet, you're not going to lead your family to eating healthy, as we talked about. That is number 2.
Yes.
Number 3 is for men not being. I am looking for a word that would be being assertive, being taking
Firm.
their position,
Bold
being
leadership.
firm,
Bold
being
leadership.
firm, being bold.
Yes.
Being bold and
Bold,
knowing
but not
they
a
are.
bully.
Not a bully,
Yes.
but knowing that this is my role. I am in charge.
I'm going to play it
Yes.
as a head
because
of this family.
that can be a challenge depending on the way, you know, this man was brought up. So they can relax and let it be.
Yes, or bully the whole family all over the place to follow his whims. And
Yes.
he calls it bold leadership, when it is bullying.
And that's where now Fathers Union
Comes in.
ball to you.
Yes.
You know, I'm throwing the ball to you.
Yes.
Should come in to support men to know their roles and confidently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the vision of Fathers Union
Yes.
is Christ-centered families led by model Christian men.
Yes. So to be a model Christian man, the man needs to be built as well.
Yes.
Yes.
Should have knowledge
So
about these
have
health
knowledge,
issues.
be
Not
bold
be-
and courageous about performing the role.
Yes.
Yeah, and of course, we already talked about being available. Yes.
Okay. This is helpful. Unfortunately, like you have somehow alluded to it, we cannot give what we don't have. So, which changes, in your view, must men make in order to be healthy themselves, healthy enough to lead their families? What are some of the changes that men have to make in their own personal lives so that they are healthy enough to lead their families into health?
Now one of the things that I have grown up to learn is sit back and reflect on who I am, what I am doing, and choose what I need to change. And I can tell you, even men who are addicted to alcohol, to all these things, when they sit down and reflect, they realize that these things need to change in them. So my appeal would be that men should sit, reflect,
Reflection.
and identify those areas of where they are lacking. If you're addicted, you know, so that they can seek help
Yes.
to overcome. Yeah? That is one.
Yes.
If they have any addictions, they should work at overcoming them. And that's not easy.
Of course.
It's a lot of work.
It is.
That is one. But also, I want to recommend that men can it's never too late to begin what I would call healthy traditions.
Healthy traditions.
traditions.
Yes.
Because you see, Samuel, in your home, you have actually many talented people that could have talents that you do not have.
That's true.
Yeah, but if you begin a tradition of saying that for us, we exercise together.
The Bakutanas do this. The
do
Bakutanas do this.
And you could say,
Do
you could
this.
even begin saying it's just once a month. We exercise together. We do aerobics together. We jog together. We do this together. That will help you. It will bring the togetherness, the commitment, the accountability, you know, but it will also cultivate that good tradition habit together, and you'll be able to learn from yourselves. But also what men can do in addition to that, I already talked about seeking knowledge. It would be good to find professional support in areas where they realize they are lacking. And Fathers Union is one area
Yes, it is.
where actually they can approach
Yeah.
Fathers Union and
Leaders.
say, we want a session on healthy eating.
Yes.
And it's not very difficult when a man comes again amidst other 50 men and there is a talk on healthy eating.
Yes.
Yeah, they can bring together alongside their wives to
Yeah.
know how to prepare food healthy.
I
Yes.
hope my wonderful presidents across the country, in all the 39 dioceses, I hope you're taking note of that. And also you, the chairman of the Fathers Union in all the parishes across the country. When you're choosing topics for the fellowships and the meetings of the men and their families, ensure you think about these kinds of topics. Let it not only be about prayer, healing, deliverance, fasting, demon chasing, anointing, sweating, to mention but a few. Let it also be about physical wellness, emotional wellness, to mention but a few.
Yes, if I can continue, one of the things that I feel that men need to be empowered is how to identify mental illness. When I say mental illness, it sounds like medical, psychiatric. No.
Let me
like,
put it to you bluntly.
Yes.
It sounds like madness.
Yes, but how to identify, you know,
Mental
stress
unwellness.
and mental unwellness, or how to identify stress in your family, because there are some indicators you can look. If your children become very irritable,
Yes.
they are easily angered, they are not listening to you, they are not doing what you're telling them to do, it could mean, you know, they are going down a bad road as far as mental health is concerned. And this is one area where I think Fathers Union should also empower fathers, look for experts to empower fathers in that area. But also importantly, if fathers can really lead their families into doing the right medical checkups. Samuel, recently I was talking to a parent who had brought their child for testing before going to school. And I realized that the tests that schools are asking for, some of them are really not necessary.
Okay.
And the necessary ones are left out. So, meaning that even when you come to like school owners, there is need to know what should we test for when we are taking children to school. And that's also an area for a family leader to know who in my family needs cervical cancer screening, who in my family needs prostate cancer screening, who in my family needs checkup for their body mass index.
Yes.
You know? BMI.
The height versus the weight.
So that you are able to know the risks.
The oxygen levels.
To know the health risks they are at. And therefore how the family should really be feeding. Yes.
Wonderful. So as we bring this to a close, we are ending in about 3 minutes or so.
That's short.
What would you say is the role of the wife to the man we've been talking to? What would you say is the role of the wife in ensuring that the family members remain healthy? We are talking about this father offering leadership over these issues, But what's the role of his wife in just about a minute or a minute and a half?
So the role of the wife, I think I think the Bible is a little clear. You know, they are helpers.
Okay.
I think the wife should really help the man be a leader. Now, there are some wives that will want to lead.
Yes.
Now, if the wife is gifted in an area where the husband is not as well gifted, it will be important for the wife to use the gifting to support the husband.
Yes.
You know, when the wife is planning what to cook, should make sure the husband is supporting what is healthy. And when the husband supports, you know, healthy feeding, the wife should make sure the food is prepared in a healthy way.
Yes.
You know, so you don't go in the kitchen and all you're bringing out is deep fried stuff.
Every day, deep
Every
fried,
day,
deep fried.
every day, every day.
Every day you are
you
eating
know?
red meat.
So the wife should also be able to say, I am going to prepare vegetables the way they should be prepared. If I have somebody who has diabetes in the house, I make sure there is enough vegetables on the plate for them to have enough to fill their stomachs rather than filling it with what has a lot of glucose in it. So, in short, the wife should support the husband to be a leader of a healthy family by performing their role in supporting the husband, implementing, you know, the healthy leadership strategies.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow. What a conversation today.
Yeah.
Being the leader
Of
of
a
a healthy
healthy
family.
family.
In about 30 seconds, please give your parting shots.
So, fellow fathers, my appeal is that we all make every effort to make sure we are present in our homes, in our families. We are intentional in taking care of making sure that our family is eating healthy, making sure that our family members are having the right medical checkups, and also making sure that our family members are leading the right healthy lifestyles. You know, no addictions, no bad foods in the home, and making sure that our children are accountable to us and we are accountable to them.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
They are accountable to us and we are accountable to them. My brothers, the ball is now in our courts. Being a leader of your family is not only about having the title. It's not only about being called the family head. It's not just about the position you occupy. It's about the actions that you take. It's about giving governance over your family through exercising firm and bold leadership when you are dealing with the right things to be done. It's about giving guidance, because a leader gives guidance. Hopefully you will give the right guidance. And it's about guarding the family. So think in terms of 3 Gs: govern, guard, and guide. You not only do this in aspects of academics for your children, in aspects of parenting the grandchildren, because now you have, you know, adult children who are already in marriages. It's not only about giving guidance concerning finances and career choices. It is also about matters of health. We have understood that when we talk about a healthy family, we are not just talking about a family that lacks diseases and disability in the physical realm, even when that is the starting point. We are also talking about your family being emotionally hygienic, being psychologically sober, being mentally powerful, being spiritually abundant, not only the absence of flu and cough. And we have realized that there are many different threats that you and I have to watch very carefully. The things we allow into our families, our own absence, to mention but a few. And so we have to now go and take action. We have to go and act. Whether it is about the 4 parts of the plate, the proteins, the carbohydrates, the vegetables and fruits, act. Whether it's about medical checkups for the family members, act. Whether it's about dealing with the people that come into your home, the phones, the television station, and all that, act. I hope you will remember that act is spelled as ACT. And if you were paying close attention, that's like a trinity of some important things that our guest today recommended. A for accountability, C for commitment, I hope you remember that, and T for togetherness. Where there is accountability in the home, where there is commitment to the right healthy habits, where there is togetherness, being unified around a common understanding of how healthy our family has to be, we are going to have healthy families. Remember, like they say, when wealth is lost, almost nothing is lost. You can quickly regain it. When health is lost, something has really been lost. But when character is lost, everything is gone. So as we build wealth that can so easily be lost, and we don't lose much, we regain so quickly. As we talk about ensuring that we don't lose our health, because it is really something, once you're dead, you're gone, let us remember that one of the most important aspects of real holistic well-being is being a man of character, a leader of integrity, a family head of substance. Until next time, this has been the Inspired Family Leader Program with Samuel A Bakutana. Live exemplarily, love authentically, and lead relationally.
Just one wife. That you need the leadership skills of a general.
Yes.
To lead an army of one woman.